Welcome back. The St. Lucia National Trust has broken its silence over the archaeological investigation of the Cabot St. Lucia development. According to the trust, the so-called green light to proceed with development at the Mount Hardy site was preempted by what it believes was an early release of information by the developer. Nisha Charles tells us more in this report.
The St. Lucia National Trust and the St. Lucia Archaeological and Historical Society have been advocating for an archaeological investigation to take place at the area of land on the southeast corner of the Cabot St. Lucia development. They have also been advising on what should be included in the terms of reference with both the developer and the Development Control Authority, the DCA. An archaeological assessment of the area reported to have been conducted by archaeologist Dr. Reginald Murphy claims to give approval to the developers to continue with development on Mount Hardy. But according to Chair of the St. Lucia National Trust, Alison King, the release of that information may have skewed the considerations made by the relevant authorities.
We were given a deadline of today to submit our comments on the report to the DCA. And I believe those comments have gone in this afternoon. So we have done that as well, and we hope that notwithstanding what the developer has said publicly, the DCA will ensure that the process is not corrupted and that there's proper consideration given to the feedback that they've received from ourselves and the ANH Society in respect of this report.
The Trust has expressed disappointment in not being engaged at any point in the assessment. It also believes that due process was compromised when the developer released certain aspects of the report's findings in advance of its consideration by the DCA and its referral agencies.
The EIA indicated certain things that should be done to ensure that archaeology across that site is protected and within that priority area in particular. So we are concerned that works progress without having the necessary measures in place to ensure that any archaeology that may be there, because we insist that there's very likely to be archaeology within that broader site, as well as within the priority area that was the focus of investigation. So those measures are not being put in place. We are concerned that the work of the archaeologists was not in sufficient depth to be able to make the kind of conclusions that were made, because it was not broad enough in terms of the extent of the investigation, the time, the investigation was not sufficiently in depth or detailed, in our opinion, to warrant arriving at the conclusion that was arrived at.
Furthermore, the St. Lucia National Trust believes that St. Lucia should ensure that the site is commemorated appropriately and should remain under national control and accessible to all St. Lucians. For the Hot 7 News, Nisha Charles reporting.
The St. Lucia Labour Party is calling on the ruling United Workers' Party administration to be more forthcoming with the findings into the infamous impacts investigation that was launched in 2014 following a string of 12 police killings which were carried out during Operation Restore Confidence from 2010 to 2011. The SLP says Prime Minister Alan Shastney promised answers during his 2016 election campaign, and 5 years later, nothing has been revealed on the matter. The opposition's communications officer, Mondi Lewis, is calling for a speedy resolve to the issue, as was promised.
A call for transparency has been sent out to the Alan Shastney administration from the opposition St. Lucia Labour Party in relation to the status of the impacts investigation, which has been ongoing since the SLP administration exposed damning findings of Operation Restore Confidence in 2014. Communications officer of the SLP, Mondi Lewis, said there is a need for the government to be more forthcoming and give a much-needed update on the status of the matter.
The SLP recalls that it was under a UWP government that the police launched Operation Restore Confidence in 2010 to 2011, months before the general election of 2011, and that this operation resulted in the shooting death of 12 citizens. Operation Restore Confidence also resulted in the United States government applying the Leahy Law to St. Lucia in August 2013 cutting off assistance to the Royal St. Lucia Police Force on the basis of, quote, credible allegations of gross human rights violation, end quote, by the police. It also led to an investigation of the operation in 2014 by the CARICOM Implementation Agency for Crime and Security, IMPACTS.
Lewis said whilst on his campaign trail prior to their victory in 2016, the United Workers' Party leader Alan Chastanet made a promise that he is yet to keep 5 years later.
The Labour Party government had submitted the report to the then DPP in 2015. This current Alan Chastanet government, during the 2016 general election campaign and on entering office in 2016, had promised that it would speedily settle all issues arising out of the impacts report and would in effect make impacts disappear in 6 months. To date, the matter has not been resolved, and the St. Lucia Labour Party is calling for clarification of the status of the impacts report.
Lewis said the SLP is calling on the government to keep its promise to the police and resolve the issue and bring an end to the unnecessary pain and suffering of all those involved in this unfortunate event. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Rochelle Gonzalez.
Nearly 2 weeks after a fisherman was killed in a shark attack in Jamaica on Saturday, the 1st of May, Hot 7 News spoke to the Fisheries Department on the risks of similar deadly encounters whilst in the open waters of the Caribbean Sea and the Atlantic Ocean. This attack is the latest in a string of shark attacks in Caribbean waters in less than 1 year. It is also the third fatality since December, with the other two being recorded in Costa Rica and St. Martin. In January, local sea bathers were urged to practice caution due to a reported rise in shark sightings in waters of the Caribbean.
A 54-year-old fisherman in Jamaica died on Saturday, May 1st, from injuries sustained in a shark attack whilst fishing in Westmoreland. Mobile phone footage of the fateful incident shows that Donovan Hayward's left arm was ripped off during the attack. In January, the Ministry of Agriculture and Fisheries urged local sea bathers to practice caution. However, with this being the third fatality of this nature in less than 6 months within the Caribbean, the island's Deputy Chief Fisheries Officer Thomas Nelson reiterated the all-important call. Nelson said whilst there have been no noted attacks locally, seagoers should always bear the dangers in mind.
The Department of Agriculture, Fisheries, Natural Resources and Cooperatives has been made aware of sightings of sharks and their interactions with humans within the Caribbean region. Such incidents, as far as we are aware, have been concentrated in the northern Caribbean region. However, the department would like to take the opportunity to advise local seagoers to take all necessary precautions when using the marine environment. At this point, the department is not in a position to indicate with any degree of certainty that there has been an increase in local waters of shark species. However, the public must realize that we do have a shark fishery, and therefore when they are pursuing recreational activities in particular, they are to be very mindful that they are in the marine environment and therefore interactions with marine species may occur.
The Deputy Chief Fisheries Officer stated that although there are shark species in St. Lucian waters, the danger level is low, but one should never get too complacent.
Let me indicate that as a result of the shark fishery in St. Lucia, fishers do land a variety of shark species. Some of them are a bit more aggressive than others, but most of them are relatively docile. However, once there is interaction, usually any marine species, including sharks, may very well put up a defense. So therefore, we again would like to urge the public to be mindful of the marine environment whenever they venture out to sea and report any incidents to the Department of Fisheries.
Nelson said it is important for the public to play their role in the fight to prevent such occurrences in St. Lucia.
The department appeals to the general public to remain vigilant and report any observations or sightings of sharks, particularly within the nearshore environment, by contacting the Department of Fisheries at 468-4135 or 468-4143, or you can also call 725-1667.
The two previous shark attack fatalities within the past 6 months occurred in Costa Rica and St. Martin. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Rochelle Gonzalez.
Thank you, Rochelle. The attorney representing the Ayanola Council for the Advancement of Rastafari, ICA, is calling the statements made by the National Security Minister ill-advised. The National Security Minister denied ICA's request for an exemption to transport 50 pounds of cannabis to St. Vincent as part of a humanitarian effort, saying that the drug was still illegal.
The request by the Ayanola Council for the Advancement of Rastafari, ICA, to transport cannabis to St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and the response by the National Security Minister is turning heads in legal circles. Attorney at Law David Moiston is representing ICA in a constitutional case against the St. Lucia government in relation to the Local Drug Act. He says that the statements made by the minister are ill-informed and cite Section 10, subsection 1 of the Drug Prevention and Misuse Act that makes provision for such.
The minister may make regulations made by statutory instrument A, exclude or except for Section 51A, 51B, 61A, 61B, or 6 or 8.1 any controlled drugs specified in regulations, and make such other provisions as he or she thinks fit for the purpose of making it lawful, which would mean the minister has the right to authorize the exportation, amongst other things, the possession, amongst other things, of any controlled drug.
While cannabis is legal in St. Vincent and the Grenadines for medicinal and religious purposes, it is still illegal in St. Lucia. Moiston says that authorizing the request would actually be in keeping with the law.
It also goes on to refer to one of the sections which he may otherwise make lawful, Section 9.1, which speaks with the cultivation of cannabis. So therefore, Mr. Minister, it is not a matter that you would authorize the breaking of the law, but you would have complied with the very provisions of the Act that you refer to in authorizing that exportation of cannabis to St. Vincent, to the Rastafari faith in St. Vincent.
Minister Francis is calling the request by ICA outrageous. For the Hot 7 News, Nisha Charles reporting.
Thank you, Nisha. Over the past several weeks, the St. Lucia Sports Academy has been on a recruitment drive across St. Lucia. The St. Lucia Sports Academy opened its doors here in 2019. The school provides students with a solid foundation in academics, life skills, and of course sports, in particular football, cricket, and track and field. Students are also exposed to off-the-field courses in areas such as coaching and media arts. The school's team of coaches has so far visited primary schools in Castries, Grosley, Canries, Ancillary, Soufrière, Vieux-Fort, Micoud, and Babono. Principal of the St. Lucia Sports Academy, Delia Alcindor Charles, has described the recruitment drive as very encouraging.
Today I'm quite happy to be part of our recruitment plan. As an academy, one of the privileges afforded to us is that the coaches go out and recruit the students. As we know, this school is a relatively new school, and as we prepare for the next academic year, we need to bring in our own students, recruit students. And so today we are in District 8, where the coaches, cricket, football, track and field are engaging in skills assessment.
According to Alcindor Charles, the St. Lucia Sports Academy, with the assistance of the teachers and coaches at the various schools, provided students with as much information on the school as to help them make an informed decision. The intention is to motivate as many students as possible to make the St. Lucia Sports Academy their choice ahead of the sitting of the Common Entrance exams. Coach Victor Cornibut of the St. Lucia Sports Academy says the recruitment drive seeks to attract students from each school to make up the Form 1 intake.
We have been visiting the various primary schools on the island, and so far it has been quite a bit of a success, where we are looking to identify students with talent in track and field, football, and cricket. The aim is to at least get at least 3 students in at least every primary school spread across the island, so that they could comprise our Form 1 cohort for 2021-2022. So at this moment we are in Soufriere, and we have seen quite a bit of talent in Soufriere in all 3 areas, and we are quite pleased with the cooperation of all PE teachers so far in all primary schools.
The recruitment initiative takes interested students out onto playing fields, COVID-19 protocols observed, where their skill level is tested in the areas of football, cricket and track and field. Minister for Education, Innovation, Gender Relations and Sustainable Development, Dr. Gail Rigobert, says that the overall intention is that the St. Lucia Sports Academy becomes the school of choice for students seeking to enhance their sporting career. The recruitment drive, she says, will also create more awareness about the school. This is the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Stay with us. There's more news coming up after the break.